Scotland's been described as one huge outdoor playground. In ever-increasing numbers, we like to get out into the fresh air, whether it's hill walking or skiing, mountain biking, sailing or canoeing. People will spend a lot of time and money on their outdoor pursuits. Over the past 50 years, Tisos have managed to weather many storms, but through those years, the companies had to move with the times.
There was innovation taking place, and we had to be at the forefront of it. We needed to be raising the bar because there was the appearance of some competition on the horizon. And we had some of our own ideas about what form that should take, and then they were very much crystallized by a visit to the States in the mid-90s, where we saw what was happening in outdoor retailing there, which was groundbreaking in terms of something that we all now take for granted in retail, which was the introduction of theatre, the introduction of interactivity, the introduction of activity and education into the retail environment.
This latest recession identified issues in the business which had to be dealt with.
What that was really going to come down to was a brutal set of decisions in 2012, which were going to come with them a lot of pain and a lot of cost. And I sat down with our Group FD and thereafter our shareholders and thereafter our bankers and said, look, as far as I'm concerned, we are going to have to fundamentally strengthen the management board, which is going to mean that some people that I have worked with for 20 odd years are going to have to go because they are no longer able to add value to the business. They no longer have the appropriate skills or abilities in order to help me drive the business through this according to the degree to which the market and the world has changed around us. And we are also going to have to draw a very, very clear line in terms of profitable shops and non-profitable shops. And it's interesting, you know, we had been looking at the same locations for some time and monitoring their performance clearly, which was borderline. And it was borderline 9 and 10 in good times. And suddenly, everything went down in 11, and that just pushed those borderline stores completely underwater. And in some respects, that made the decision very easy. Not pleasant, but easy, because it was a matter of, well, we've just got to do it.
Afterwards, he explained that a key to its success had been innovation.
I think it's important to combine three things. I think having a clear vision and a strategy for the future and how you are going to differentiate yourself from your competitors, how you are going to innovate the business in terms of improving the retail experience for the customer, and that extends to the brand mix, the customer service, the retail environment, and making it stimulating and engaging, and that element of theatre. And I think it's also just about constantly evolving and ensuring that you differentiate yourself from your competitors.
You've had to take some difficult decisions over the last couple of years. How difficult, in fact, were they?
I think the hard part is not actually making the decision, it's executing it. I think making the decision is often fairly straightforward because if the business needs change, then that change has to take place. And there has to be complete commitment to making those changes necessary to give the business a bright future. So making the decisions, although often unpleasant and at times unpopular, is not easy, but it just has to be done. The implementation of those decisions and the working through of the changes is often the hard part.
You're now operating in an increasingly competitive environment, what with the low-cost discount warehouses arriving. How difficult has that actually been?
I think one has to be clear about the polarisation which has taken place in the market, and we're clear that we operate at the quality end of the spectrum, and I'm very comfortable with the discount model operating at the value end of the same spectrum. I think that there is room for both, and I think that we serve a slightly different market, and I think that as long as we continue to differentiate ourselves on product and on retail environment and on service, which essentially is the overall proposition of Tiso, then I think that we will continue to grow and thrive. I think that we can't lose sight of the need, however, for us to be competitive on price, and the introduction of the Outdoor Experience Privilege Card has allowed us to do just that.
How do you see this business growing over the next year or so?
I think that the mid-2000s was all about a growth, both organic and expansion, and through acquisition. I think that followed a couple of very strong years in performance terms. The world around us changed and life got pretty difficult, and that has necessitated a degree of restructuring, store closures and some management changes. And the focus now moving forward for the next year or two will be on consolidating that position, driving through those changes and ensuring that the business is in the strongest possible place to move forward, grow and expand again as and when the market conditions suggest that would be the right and positive thing to do.
When the Power Lunch Club next meets in Glasgow, its speaker will be Jim McCall of Clyde Blowers.